Guns don't kill people. Chuck Norris does. When Chuck Norris bleeds, oak trees sprout up from where the blood fell. Chuck Norris never hides. He only seeks. Rather than being birthed like a normal child, Chuck Norris instead decided to punch his way out of his mother's womb, hence the term C-section. Chuck Norris eats pencils and markers for breakfast and shits out masterpieces. Chuck Norris once shot a plane down with his finger by pointing and yelling, "Bang." Every piece of furniture in Chuck Norris's house is a total gem. If you ever meet a woman with crooked teeth, you've met a woman who has given Chuck Norris a blowjob. Chuck Norris's dog is trained to pick up his own poop because Chuck Norris will not take shit from anyone. Chuck Norris would hit that. Chuck Norris just pissed your pants. The chief export of Chuck Norris is pain. Chuck Norris's poop is used as currency in Argentina. Chuck Norris wears a live rattlesnake as a condom. Chuck Norris can make the Kessel Run in less than 10 parsecs. Chuck Norris's advice? Grow a beard. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad Chuck Norris never cries. At Chuck Norris's bachelor party, he ate the entire cake before his friends could tell him there was a stripper in it. Chuck Norris is the only 100% effective form of contraception. Chuck Norris makes onions cry. Chuck Norris eats coal and shits diamonds. Chuck Norris defeated Hulk Hogan at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Chuck Norris trims his beard with a dull bayonet. It never rains on Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris isn't God, but he beats him in golf. Every cell in Chuck Norris's body has its own beard. Rainbows are what happens when Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks Richard Simmons. Chuck Norris refers to himself in the fourth person. If you drop a phonograph needle on Chuck Norris's nipple, it plays the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. Chuck Norris can travel through time by running at 88 miles per hour. Chuck Norris's blood type is DOA. Chuck Norris coincidentally lives in a round house. When Chuck Norris has a good idea, he raises a forklift carrying a pallet of light bulbs over his head. Superman owns a pair of Chuck Norris pajamas. Chuck Norris drives a pickup truck upholstered in denim. Chuck Norris can grate fresh Parmesan cheese with his rust-red beard. The only reason World War II occurred was because Chuck Norris was taking a nap. Chuck Norris eats babies and shits Delta Force team members. Chuck Norris once wrestled a bear, an alligator, and a mountain lion all at once. He won by tying them together with an anaconda. Chuck Norris's pubic hair is twice as thick as his beard, but not nearly as deadly. Chuck Norris once roundhouse kicked Bruce Lee, breaking him in half. The result was Jet Li and Jackie Chan. Chuck Norris's genes aren't a double helix. They're barbed wire. The symbol for Chuck Norris in sign language is a middle finger on fire. Jesus owns and wears a bracelet that reads, WWCND. What would Chuck Norris do? Chuck Norris is not hung like a horse. Horses are hung like Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris's penis is so massive, it has its own elbow. Chuck Norris went as Chuck Norris for Halloween. He got twice as much candy as anybody else. Freddy Krueger has nightmares about Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris wipes with 40 grit sandpaper. Chuck Norris won a staring contest with Medusa. When you open a can of whoop ass, Chuck Norris jumps out. If you know someone who doesn't like Chuck Norris, you won't know him for long. Chuck Norris does not hunt because the word hunting implies the possibility of failure. Chuck Norris goes killing. Chuck Norris once played Jenga. The result was the Empire State Building. Chuck Norris only allows Jackie Chan to live because he likes Chris Tucker movies. Chuck Norris remembers the Alamo, and he isn't happy about it. When Chuck Norris's shit hits the fan breaks. Chuck Norris once ordered a Big Mac at Burger King and got one. Chuck Norris can speak Braille. The only line Chuck Norris stands in is in the line of fire. Chuck Norris once visited the Virgin Islands. Shortly thereafter, they were renamed the Islands. Water boils faster when Chuck Norris watches it. Chuck Norris drives Optimus Prime to work. Chuck Norris shaves with a John Deere tractor. Chuck Norris once defeated a laser beam in a 100-meter dash. If Chuck Norris could be any type of tree, he would be titanium. Chuck Norris is so American. He can eat tyranny and shit apple pie. To show its patriotism, the American flag recently got a tattoo of Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris breaks wind, it stays broken. Chuck Norris puts the fist in pacifist. When Chuck Norris wants a salad, he eats a vegetarian. Chuck Norris was baptized with napalm. The opposite sides of Chuck Norris always add up to 7. Chuck Norris has only one hand, the upper hand. Chuck Norris's nipples can cause severe tire damage. Ozzy Osbourne once bit the head off of a bat. Not to be outdone, Chuck Norris then bit the head off Batman. Bill Gates is in constant fear that Chuck Norris's PC will crash. As a child, Chuck Norris played Hungry Hungry Hippos with real hippos. Chuck Norris once struck lightning. Chuck Norris's driver's license photo looks amazing. Chuck Norris once had an erection while lying face down. He struck oil. The Black Eyed Peas were simply known as the Peas until they crossed Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris plays golf, they have to put the hole in the moon. Chuck Norris built the Panama Canal with one hand. Chuck Norris is like corn. No matter how much shit he is in, he still comes out in one piece. This is actually kind of difficult. This is more of a try not to laugh challenge than an ASMR video. When Chuck Norris cuts in line, the line bleeds. Chuck Norris is a vegetarian. He does not eat animals until he first puts them into vegetative state. Chuck Norris can kill you in more ways than you know how to die. Love means Chuck Norris never has to say he's sorry. Chuck Norris once squeezed an M&M so hard that it turned into a Skittle. Chuck Norris once partook in a pissing contest outside of a bar. His opponent drowned. Once, a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. After 5 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. Chuck Norris's real name is Switchblade Killingsworth. He changed it to Chuck Norris because it sounded tougher. Chuck Norris is always on top during sex, because Chuck Norris never fucks up. Never use the phrase, "eat my heart out" around Chuck Norris. He will. The jihadists are pissed because they can no longer tell their recruits to expect 73 virgins in heaven. The best they can do now is 73 women who have already had sex with Chuck Norris. The only match for Chuck Norris is the one he burns you with. Chuck Norris builds all Home Depots with his bare hands. Death once had a near Chuck Norris experience. Pictures of Chuck Norris are worth 2,000 words. And finally, my favorite of all. Chuck Norris doesn't sleep. He waits. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Until next time.